What's up, Detroit sports fans? Welcome to the first ever inaugural episode of the Motor City Bluebeard Podcast, where we talk all things Detroit sports, Lions, Pistons, Tigers, and Red Wings. Lifelong Detroit sports fans here. Grew up in Michigan, and I have loved Detroit sports my entire life. I'm just a regular fan here to bring you news, analysis of games, give you my opinion on things. And please, if this is your first time here, leave a comment. I respond to everyone. This is why I want to do this channel, is to talk to all of you and talk about the teams and the sports that we love. Consider subscribing so that this channel can grow and we can grow together. So without further ado, this first video is going to be all about the Detroit Lions. Look back at the season, talk about their offensive coordinator search, and give my thoughts on who I would love to see and why. So coming into this season, right, we were excited, cautiously optimistic. Ben Johnson had left. Aaron Glenn had left. Ben Johnson had gone to the Bears. If you could go back in time and tell me that we would beat Ben Johnson and the Bears twice, but they would be still playing at this time and had won the division, and we missed the playoffs, I would think you were insane. But that's just what happened. It was a disappointing, dysfunctional year. And I think the most disappointing thing at all is there were so many issues, but yet they went 9-8 and just barely missed the playoffs. A play here or there and they would have made it in. But honestly, at the end of the day, I always want my team to win, but missing the playoffs, I think, was probably the best case scenario. The writing was on the wall that this team was not going to be one that could make a run. So even if they had snuck in, they would have lost in the first round, most likely. And then saying we made the playoffs could be a reason to stand pat and not change things. But missing the playoffs is very disappointing with this roster and this team and some of the talent they have, especially on offense. And it forces their hand, you know. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have to look in the mirror and say, what do we got to do to get better? What do we got to change? What's not working? And number one is the offensive coordinator. I was not a big fan of the John Morton hiring. I thought, okay, he has a good rapport with Goff. He's been around. He knows what kind of offense we want to run. He's been great as a passing game coordinator and a high level consultant helping people out. So I thought he'd be fine, but it just never really clicked. It didn't seem right. Even the games where they went off and scored a lot, it was really just because of the players really making plays. Things just never seemed schemed right. Some players just couldn't find a rhythm and just never seemed right. So then Dan Campbell took over and it seemed like it was better at first, but that ended up not being great either. And I think that Dan is still a young coach who's learning, and he needs to be able to focus on just managing the game, managing his players. He can't be also calling plays. He needs to be focused. So I don't think him continuing to call plays is a good idea. They need an offensive coordinator, and they're interviewing some. We'll talk about the list in a minute. But that was one problem. And then on the defensive side of the ball, well, let's stick with offense first. The offensive line was terrible, right? Jared Goff needs a good offensive line play. If he gets good offensive line play, then he can be cerebral. He can be a fantastic quarterback. If he has bad offensive line play and he's got pressure, he's terrible. And it just is what it is. He's not athletic. He can't extend plays. And when he tries, he usually trips over himself or fumbles off his knee or something like that. So, I mean, we all know that's what happens. I love Goff. He's an awesome dude, an awesome leader. And I still think we could win a Super Bowl with him, but it would be nice to have a more dynamic quarterback. And we'll talk about all that later on with the draft and free agency and everything like that. I would love for them to get a backup that has some wheels or someone to develop behind him for the inevitable day when he is going to retire or start to go downhill. But for now, we just need to improve the offensive line. But that was an issue. And the running back usage was an issue too. Monty, hopefully he doesn't leave, but it looks like he's gonna. I don't blame him. He did not get used enough, and Gibbs got used in ways that weren't helpful to him. Too much running between the tackles, not enough getting him out in space, and he is not the best blocker still. So he was in on way too many third downs where he was supposed to block and he got obliterated, where Montgomery's great at that. He's great at short yardage. They did so much better in previous years of mixing it up and feeding him the ball. Like if he got hot, I don't get what happened this year. The offense did good statistically, but it was off, and they need to fix some things on that side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, same thing again. We got destroyed by injuries. Oh, an injury on the offensive side of the ball too. Once Laporta went down, that felt like a Hutchinson injury from last year, where it was like, oh, it's really going to be hard to win it all this year. I mean, Laporta makes that offense go. A lot of times, think about the bad offensive line play. When you have Laporta, who always finds a way to get open and can catch everything, and it was like Goff's best friend when pressure's in his face, he's gone. The tight ends did the best they could, but then Brock Wright got hurt too. We had, third string tight ends and practice squad guys playing tight end all year, and that was a big problem with the offense. Defense, secondary, again, was a problem with injuries. We had our whole starting secondary out, sometimes some games at the same time. Kirby barely played. Branch got hurt and was out the rest of the year. Terrion Arnold was injured again. Rakestraw was injured again. Our depth was a little better this year. I really do think that, I really did like what Rocky Sin did. I think he looked pretty good. I really like Maddox. I would like them both to come back, possibly. But they shouldn't be playing that much. And DJ Reed was injured some of the time, and when he wasn't injured, he didn't play that well. For how good he's looked in the past, he did not look that great either, which was a bummer. Our linebackers were solid. That was a bright spot in defense. Barnes, Anzalone, and Campbell especially looked amazing. They were great. Defensive line, we just could never get any pressure. And as the season went on, we started to get ran on too, which was never an issue. And the bad part is the defensive line by the second half of the year was pretty much healthy. And Ali McNeil didn't look himself. DJ Reader just didn't have a great year. They weren't stopping the run. And then on the edge, Muhammad did decent. He had a lot of sacks, but he would just disappear for games. And same with Hutch. I love Hutch. I'm a Michigan fan, which I have a Maize and Bluebeard podcast as well, where I talk about Michigan sports. If you're a Michigan fan, go check that out. If you are a Michigan State fan or another team and you don't like Michigan, pretend I didn't say that, because here we're all Detroit fans. But I love Hutch, but he didn't live up to the money, and maybe it's coming off an injury and needing a year to get kind of back into the swing of things. He had a lot of sacks too, but it just seemed like it wasn't every game. There wasn't this pressure. So they need to do more on the edge. Brad Holmes made it sound like he's not gonna, but he's got to. I mean, he's got to see that he needs to upgrade the edges. I did like what I saw, especially as the year went on, from our rookie defensive tackle, Tyleik Williams. I think he could be really good, so I wouldn't mind if they let Reader walk, save some money, and Tyleik Williams gets more playing time, and hopefully Ali McNeil is healthy and gets back to form. Hutchinson too, and then they can do something for edge on the other side. Like, they need a game wrecker over there that's going to make it tougher, and they need more depth. So we'll see. But Kelvin Shepherd, I actually was excited when they promoted him, because I loved his passion, his fire. I thought the linebacker room has been great while he's been there, so I thought he was going to do really good. And I don't know. I mean, he needs time to figure it out. I get it. So he'll probably get another year. He's a smart guy. He's a fiery guy. Hopefully he'll figure it out, because there were some games the defense looked pretty sharp, but when you look at the season as a whole, it makes you wonder if the offense just played a terrible game that day, because some games the defense was rough. Just some of the same stuff we saw with Glenn, but even worse at times, playing way too far off the ball, giving up easy catches, easy first downs, no pressure, and then getting ran on. That's not usually something that the Lions have had happen to them lately. So it boils down to, we did not win in the trenches this year. We got pushed around all season long, and that was a strength before. So disappointing season, but because we have so much talent, we somehow went 9-8. which is wild. And, a play here or there, we would have gotten the playoffs. But we needed this to happen. We needed a wake-up call, and I expect a lot of changes going forward. And I can't wait to talk free agency, draft, all the things. But right now, the big focus is offensive coordinator. So let's talk about the list of offensive coordinator candidates, and I'll give you my thought. All right, so the Lions have been tight-lipped about who they're interviewing and when. Some things have been figured out, of course, but a lot of teams just say, we're doing it this day, this time, and they make a big thing of it. The Lions don't do that. So here's the list of offensive coordinator candidates that they're interested in, that they have either interviewed or plan to interview. T. Morton, QB coach for the Ravens, a former college player for Tennessee Volunteers, and then he had a cup of coffee in the NFL. He's intriguing, but we need somebody proven. We need a proven guy, so I would not be happy if they hired T. Morton. Seems like a great guy, seems like a smart QB coach, but that's not what they need, so I would not want them to have him. Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, they're interested in. Please no. I do not want him experienced yet. Yes, he is experienced at not being good. I don't know. Some people think he's a smart offensive mind. I would not want the Lions to sign him. I was not impressed with him when he was a head coach, how he carries himself or anything. So I would not like it if they hired him. Hopefully he could prove me wrong, but I would not be happy with that hire. And then, of course, I said I'd give you my top three. So here is my top three in order from 3 to 2 to 1. My third option, which I would be happy with, would be Zac Robinson, offensive coordinator of the Falcons. He's got connection with Goff. I think he's a really smart offensive mind, and I think he could do a good job. It wouldn't be the sexy pick, but it would be solid, and I would be just fine with it, and I think he'd be here for more than 1 year, so that would be a benefit to it. So I definitely would not mind if Zac Robinson gets the job. Number 2 is Giants offensive coordinator and stand-in coach Mike Kafka. I would be ecstatic if they brought him in. I think he's an offensive genius. I really like him a lot. And as Lions fans, we saw what he was able to do against us with Jameson Winston lighting us up, catching passes and throwing them all over our defense. So I'm impressed with him. I think he did a really good job managing too what once after Brian Daboll got fired, what he was able to do to kind of keep that team together and be competitive with a young team and still have a pretty solid offense. I would be excited if they got Mike Kafka. He is my number 2. And number 1, of course, same as many Lions fans, would be Mike McDaniel, Dolphins former head coach who was let go. Dynamic, incredible, all the way around. He's an offensive genius. He knows his stuff, and he's such a cool dude. And he would be such a fun personality for the players. And also, I would just love to see him interacting with Dan Campbell. Can you imagine how great some of those post-game locker room speeches would be if he was part of them? Holy smokes. Now, with him, he's probably only here a year. Probably same with Kafka. But it would be worth it to stabilize and get this offense rolling again. And then if they did bring in McDaniel for sure, and probably Mike Kafka also, they need to have a young, smart up-and-comer behind him, either as an assistant or analyst or something that can learn from them and be ready to take over the following year. Tanner Engstrom, anybody? That's what we should have done. But I know he went elsewhere of his own accord, but still. But that would be my plan. Please hire Mike McDaniel or Mike Kafka and have someone waiting in the wings, learning and ready to take over. That would be my hope, and let's hope that's what they do. I will be happy with Zac Robinson. And also the guy from the Rams, I would also be happy with him. But he would be down there. He would probably be my number 4, actually. So there you have it. Disappointing way for the season to go for us Lions fans, but once the writing was on the wall that it was not going to be a great year. I'm glad they missed the playoffs. We got a better draft pick, and it's going to force Brad and Dan to go back to the drawing board and make things right. And I'm excited to see what we do. And I'm excited to make content about it and talk to you guys about it. So please, again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to hang out with me for a minute and talk Lions. Leave a comment. I respond to them all. Consider giving me a like and a subscribe to help this channel grow and so that you know when I put out more content. Look forward to some Pistons content coming soon. They've got some upcoming games that I want to talk about, look back at the season so far, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So that'll do it for this episode of the Motor City Bluebeard podcast. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one. Go Lions.